Hello, everyone. We are back to Cyberslay episode 6. And I really had an I had a very great speaker last five episodes where we met and we understand their journey. So, how they started their career in cybersecurity. So, we are thrilled to have uh, you guys to join us for another episode, episode 6, a Cyberslay, where we are bringing industry leaders and experts to share their journey and insight and expertise in the world of cybersecurity. So today we are honored to welcome our esteemed guest Sankalp Kumar, and his extensive experience and innovation approach for tackling the digital threat make him a true guardian of the digital world. In this session, we are going to understand and we are going to be walking through the Sankalp's journey in cybersecurity. So let's dive into the insightful conversation and uncover valuable lessons from Sankalp. And stay tuned for the engaging and inspiring talk. So, welcome everyone to the Cyberslay show and welcome to Sankalp as well.
Hi. Thank you. Thank you for the
Hi.
introduction. Yeah. Hello.
So, Sankalp, can we have a quick intro of you? How did you started your career in security from the your education to till now? So, can we have a little bit a small intro?
Sure, absolutely. So I did my bachelor's from Manipal in India in Karnataka, and then I worked at McAfee for 4 years developing intrusion prevention systems, which are real-time systems doing attack detection. So after 4 years of working there, building software that does security, I was closely working with security engineers. So that's how I got interested into knowing more about cybersecurity, and that led me to pursuing a master's in cybersecurity from University of Maryland in US, and then I did a lot of internships back then, and then I've been working in industry for past 2 years now in San Francisco Bay Area.
Okay, so total, how many years of experience that you have in the career of development, and especially in cybersecurity too?
About
So
7 years,
it's
yes.
7 years. Oh, that's great. So basically, whenever there are people out there who's looking out for upskilling themselves or maybe to start their career in cybersecurity, everybody wanna understand how your education or the background, personal background, how did you prepare into the domain of cybersecurity? So how exactly your education background is like you started your career. So can we have a little bit of that too
Mhm.
information?
So I wouldn't say there's a requirement for formal degree, but obviously a formal degree helps. It helps in the way that it sets your foundation stone. Uh,
Mhm.
for example, if you do a bachelor's in computer science or IT, what it does, it gives you a breadth of knowledge of everything that exists in the computer science domain. Uh, so having a foundation stone can help you be better prepared. And then if you want to obviously specialize in cybersecurity, most of these courses or colleges these days have a specialization that can lead you to gain more insight and knowledge. But I mean, these days everything is on internet, so you can
Yeah.
definitely just do your own learning, Google things. There are platforms that can help you get started in the cybersecurity. It depends on what kind of role that you want to pursue. If you want to do offensive security, there are sites for you to practice. There's hack the box, and there's so many other sites. You can also start doing your own public bug bounty hunting if you're really on the offensive side. If you're more on the defensive side, if you want to do application security, uh, I would say knowing about OWASP, learning about how to protect against these vulnerabilities would come in very handy for you. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, that's true actually. So I want to add one more question in this. Do you think coding is necessary whenever you are wanted to go in an offensive security type side?
So I wouldn't say coding is necessary, but it comes in handy. So, for example,
Yeah.
if you're like targeting a site which has like 500,000 domains, knowing Python, being able to script out things if you want to, uh, everyone is different. Like some people would want to do it manually, spend hours, and obviously manual has its own rewarding system, I would say, because things that you can
Yeah.
find manually you will not be able to find in an automated fashion. But it's another skill set to have. So I wouldn't say that you should not know how to code. You should definitely know how to code, but you don't need to know how to build a entire software. You just need to know basics, how to script
Yes,
something up.
that's
Yeah.
yeah, that's true actually. Because I have also meeting a lot of people who wanted to start their career. So this is a basic question they ask. So that's why I really wanted people who are working in a cybersecurity, if can they can able to answer, so people can understand well. So I'll be moving to our next question. So during your time at one of the company that you worked as a network security and vulnerability detection, so what was the most challenging aspect of implementing the new logic for IP assembly?
So, I mean, any software that you implement, not just this one, you need to be very careful of user input, because
Mhm.
that's something that the a bad person can control and can
Yeah,
play with, which you can call it attack surface. I mean, that's what the term is, attack surface. So you want to make sure that you're very careful in these areas. So, for example, if you're looking at IP packets, that's something sent over the network, right? So you got to be careful of the things that you are trusting there and using it in your logic, because that's something can be used against you and your software system. So being aware of that and then developing something which is secure uh, is challenging. Was challenging, I would say. Yes.
yeah. And whenever we have some challenges, that's how we learn and we bring the solution onto the table. So I also wanted to understand what are exactly your proudest moment in cybersecurity career where you felt really proud about something, as you mentioned about the challenge that you had and you bring it on the table. So what is the proudest moment for you?
So I was working for as a consultant, doing cybersecurity, so doing application security side, and it did find a very good vulnerability for my client, but I can't disclose that. So I would say that was the proudest moment. I have when you find something, you feel proud about it, right? So that was pretty cool. Yes.
Okay, so can we also have the vulnerability name if that is okay for you?
I can't disclose
Because
that
it's
because
lot
it's a.
of
Mhm.
okay, because it's a lot of vulnerabilities are there. People are not much aware of that. That's totally fine if you can't
Yes.
able to like to disclose it. So in your learning stage of cybersecurity, have you been to any kind of training that would you suggest to the people, or what exactly you suggest to the people when they are thinking to start their career in cybersecurity?
So again, there are multiple ways. Which side you are on matters a lot in what kind of training. If I mean, again, you don't need training, but if you're really looking to get training, then it completely depends on what side you are. If you're doing offensive security, I would say training and certifications like OSCP, OSWE, which comes from the offsec offensive security site. The company is called Offensive Security, so that would be really helpful for anyone. But again, if you're on the defensive side, looking to do application security, just knowing OWASP, how to apply them, how to do a secure code review, like how to be able to read a code manually as well, can be very useful. So those would be my points. Yes.
Okay. Would you recommend any certification in the beginning of your learning stage, or would you just tell them, the people that who are looking out for the training, that they can do certification after some time? What exactly your thoughts on?
Again, it depends. If you're starting on I mean, there are people, I know people who are very anti certificate, there are people who are pro certificate. So it all comes down to, I think, what I mean, to me, the way I see it is if you're trying to get your foot in the door, and if you like, if there is a job description that says certificate, some certification, you could definitely add
Mm-hmm.
it to your portfolio. Now there are certificates that a lot of people consider in security industry not so great, and then there are ones that people really respect. So OSCP, OSWE, anything from offensive security is very respected in the industry. But I mean, if you're just starting off, I would say, like, if you're not getting interview calls, maybe pursue some certificates, but it's not again a necessity.
Yeah. So when we are working with the companies, do company also suggest us to go with any kind of certification when we are working on the project or something? Does that
Not
happen?
necessarily. No, no, not
No,
necessarily.
yes. Okay.
If you're in a client side role, like the consultancies, where you consult big companies, maybe there, having that in your portfolio can help, because then they are looking to hire someone for a partial part of the year or something like that, right? So those times it can be helpful, I guess.
Yeah. So there's a one more thing that I'm mentioning in our session, that I have seen of school or maybe intermediate, students. They actually look out for the courses of cybersecurity. It's very early in the education period, so they look out for the training, because intermediate is too early, even in the student of like a 10th or maybe a ninth. I have seen it. The people come and they say like my son is in 10th standard or maybe intermediate. So that kind of people also looking out for cybersecurity. So what do you suggest? Would you think early education students should be taken it right now, or would you suggest like to complete the education and later they can think about it coming to the cybersecurity?
That's a very good question. So I feel knowing what is ethically right is important before you jump onto the bandwagon, because you may be targeting something that you may not have authority to do. So then you can land in trouble, which definitely you don't want to happen. So having some kind of understanding of what ethically is right, if you know that, I think you can definitely then pursue security. You can play around with tools, you can learn more through web, and that's completely fine. So if a student at that age is aware that, hey, this is what I can do and this is what I can't do, then it's completely fine. Yes.
Yeah.
So that's one. Yeah, good.
So in this question, I'm gonna add one more. I've also met a students from first year, second year, like BTech, BCA. They are like very eager to learn, and they will be thinking like we wanted to learn right now. When we passed out, we come out and we'll be ready for the job. And do you think that is that okay that they can also learn in the period of first year, second year, or would you recommend any specific year of people so that they can go for the training? So what are your thoughts on that?
I'm saying I wouldn't put any bar on the age. Like if the elementary school student wants to get started, get started. I mean, there's no issue with that. It's just that, I mean, like the first step is to search what you can ethically do. Just don't go start
Right.
using your tools on any website that you want. Check that
Yeah.
they have like they should have a running bug bounty, public bug bounty system. If that's open, see what targets are available, what you can do, what you can't do. Then those things are okay. The best way, if you don't want to do that, just go into capture the flags. So capture the flag are the best way for someone who is at a very early age to go practice their skills. Yeah.
Yeah. I would recommend people rather than going to the to find vulnerability, like there are skills are required, maybe the networking concept, understanding an application, because what exactly people do, they doesn't do these all things, networking concepts, or maybe they don't understand how exactly website will work, what is the back end and what is the front end. So I think I know that, I mean, if they can read or maybe any technical skill, would you like to suggest them to read and then they can go for the bug bounty part?
Yes, for sure. I mean, knowing fundamentally how things work is always going to help you, because then you can
Yeah.
think more. Like running tool, everyone is running tool. So
Yes.
if you go to, like, if you're participating in a bug bounty program, then everyone is running tool. So you may not be able to find a good vulnerability. The way to do that is to obviously know your fundamentals, learning all the concepts about how processes talk to each other, how web server versus client works, what's HTTP. Knowing all these things would obviously be very helpful for to anyone.
Yeah, exactly, because if we give the information to over this session, the people can able to understand. Basically, when people are working with the companies, if they know very well and if they can suggest how exactly or what exactly they can follow and learn, it will be better for the audience. They can see and they can learn out of it. So I'll just coming back to your career again.
Sure.
So here, looking back to your journey. what one thing that you wish that you had known earlier about working in this field?
Knowing about the vastness that exists, you could be a reverse engineer, you could be an application security engineer, you could be a software developer building security solutions, you could be a red teaming engineer, you could be a crypto engineer. So there's so many. Back in the day, all I could think about was probably offensive security because everyone wants to be a hacker. It sounds cool. Uh,
Yes.
but yeah, that's something if I would have been aware, I could have made more better choices, I would say. Yes.
Okay, that's actually the good one. So, where do you see the cybersecurity industry heading in the next few years? Maybe another 5 years.
That's a great question. Things are moving very rapidly. And when I say rapidly, I mean a lot of people are moving towards using AI. Uh, by that, I mean the AI agents. And I think everyone will be using it. So that's where I think even the cybersecurity industry will go. People who are non-ethically attacking systems, they will also use AI agents to carry out their attacks, and similarly, the defense side will have to catch up. So that's something where I think the industry will move pretty rapidly and pretty quickly.
Okay. There are few things I wanna ask. Like, whenever you are developing any application, do you also taking care the security, any vulnerability side, or do you also follow any kind of protocols when you are building an application, or the developers do that?
It depends. It depends on the kind of project that you're in. I would say, obviously, a developer who knows about OWASP is a better developer. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
because then they can write a software that is more secure. So knowing again your OWASP top 10, how to defend against them, and when you're writing your code and you're building a software, keeping that in back of your mind and being aware, oh, this can be troublesome. Let's not do this is always handy and helpful.
Okay. Yeah, that actually true. So I think you have already covered up the certification part. I'll come to the part of upskilling to cybersecurity, because we have been seeing people who are into testing, in a manual testing, or maybe QA, or maybe the developers, right? So they look out for the cybersecurity trainings they want to go with. Would you recommend them any sort of technical skills, or would you say like to what is your thought onto that? What do you suggest people basically?
So if someone who's already like a QA or doing testing and they want to move to cybersecurity, they would know the fundamentals. So what I would suggest them is if they really want to take a certification, I think the best out there, which is not very expensive, is the offensive security ones. Uh, so those are the certifications that I would probably suggest. And then if they can learn about different kind of vulnerabilities that generally exist in software systems, that would
Yeah.
be knowing OWASP again, and then knowing the MITRE framework, which is dictates how a cyber attack is carried out. So knowing all those fundamentals, knowing what's the best way to go about cryptography, all these things would be helpful for them if they really want to move gears and go into cybersecurity space.
Okay. In your career, I think you already work in securing coding, and I think you have been into networking and data analysis, right? So, which technical skill has been the most valuable in your career so far?
Secure coding, I would say definitely yes, because it tells you, it gives you an attacker's mindset in both terms when you're reading code, when you're writing code. So that's definitely the biggest game changer.
Okay, so as you already working from past 7 years, do you have any kind of project that you want to work in the coming time uh, in your career that you would like to work with? Kind of project. Do you have anything in your mind?
I mean, where the industry moves is where you got to move. That's how you
Okay.
make your career progression better. Because see, I mean, mostly people are excited about when something is at the top of the tree. So right now,
Yeah.
again, so I would say that's how I see my career progression as well. Chasing
Okay.
things which are at the top of the industry. Yes.
Yeah. And when you are started your career in security, and definitely you are into the development and the offensive side. So how much time did you actually practiced, or maybe to understand the vulnerability part? Or like, what do you think? Like, how much time people have to spend to do the practical things? What is your thoughts onto that?
So I started along while I was doing my master's in cybersecurity. So I got a role which was through university, and then I started doing like being a consultant for different projects. So that's how I started. Like everyone can have their own different path. Uh, the way I would feel, like if you can get a hands-on role, that's amazing. That's the best way to learn,
Mhm.
because you're spending 8 hours doing something and then you go and learn. So it becomes a whole journey in itself. But if you're not at that stage, I would recommend doing practicing on Hack the Box and all these places. Participating in Capture the Flags, that's another cool way to learn about security. And especially Capture the Flags has like a very broad spectrum. It will have your reverse engineering challenges. It will have your offensive security challenges. So it will have a lot of things. So I think those are the ways you can get started if you are looking. Yeah.
Yeah, that is true. And now the how AI is ruling in the world. Like if you see there are different types of tools are coming.
Yeah.
I think people also sometimes say that the SOC, whatever tools are there, maybe there will be some kind of AI tools can take over the SOC. Would you think that will affect to any career for cybersecurity?
I mean, it will make people's life easier. That's how I see it is, because uh, SOC job is difficult overall. Like going through
Yeah.
so much alerts, your systems generate so many alerts. It's a difficult job. So if AI comes into and helps you out, I think it will be very helpful. It will still need some manual guidance. So I don't think people's jobs are yet at stake. Uh, it
Yes.
Yeah. So that's how I see it. At least for another
That's the
4 or 5 years.
basic. Yeah, basically what happens when people look into the AI tools and all, they'll be thinking, oh, maybe in the future, cybersecurity will also be taken by AI tools or something. Maybe they might not be the most of the jobs and all. So they think in that way. But we know better in cybersecurity. There is definitely the ethical hackers. You know, you can build anything, we can hack on it. So there's a person should be there manually who can take care of all these things. And when right now, as you're working in a development as in the security, do you in your career, do you have any kind of different roles that offensive people do, like apart from pen testing and all? Do you have any kind of other role that people can look after into the offensive security?
So offensive security generally, I mean, red teaming. That's one
Mm.
aspect of cybersecurity. As I mentioned earlier, you could be a reverse engineer. You could be you could be building cryptography systems. You could be building the like a new cryptography algorithm. People say that you shouldn't be building your own cryptography algorithm, but then there are experts specifically who have degrees in math, who have PhD in math, who do these things. So you always leave it to up to them to do it. So if you want to do that, if you're really interested, building those very hard problems that even the computers can't solve, uh, that's another domain. You could be an application security engineer who could be just auditing code, reading code, or even explaining to the developers how to remediate a particular issue. You could be a vulnerability researcher. You could be a security researcher who researches and finds vulnerabilities in software, and then again tells how to write a signature for it. Uh, so those are very different kind of roles that you can actually look into.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. So there's one more question I would like to ask, as you're already working in California, that do you think company specifically look for the skills, or they look for any particular graduation or maybe masters? Is that recommendable, or it depends that the candidate should have skills, or like what exactly the market look out for the candidates?
I would skill having skill set is really important. That's the most important thing. And then sometimes they have, like, if you go through job descriptions, it will say that minimum requirement is a bachelor's degree. So
Right.
having some kind of formal education is also plays a role. I mean, though people say that it's not important, but if they're mentioning on the job description, then it is important, I guess. So having that, and then, but the most important part is obviously the skill set. If you have the skill set, then only someone can actually hire you to do that job, right? Yeah.
Exactly. Because there are people who are from civil background, from mechanical, from HR even. I have seen people from MBA background. They wanted to start their career in the compliance. So there's always this question in their mind that whether the company gonna select them or they look for particular any kind of graduation or something like that. So maybe that is the answer that you have given to most of the people. So it's about the skill set that you have and the experience you hold, and you do the bug bounty. You will be now exploring a lot of different disclosure programs and understanding how exactly it is there, and you added different activities as well. People tend to forget these things, so they'll be only focusing on, okay, I don't have a degree, maybe I cannot do that. So I think that mindset people have to change, and they can focus on the skill side. So your journey was very inspiring for a lot of people, because not everyone will decide ki I will go in cybersecurity. It is all about the skills that you particular a person will have. They will see where they're good at, what they can able to do, and that's how they begin with. So I'm wrapping up this session, as we have understood your journey very well, and we'll be hoping that maybe in future, if something comes up, maybe we can have any technical sessions or any presentation, because it's just a talk show where we wanted to let people know that anybody can work in cybersecurity if you have the right skill. So that's why I look for the people who wanted to give back to the community. And thank you so much, Sankalp. Thank you so much for joining. And I'll be looking out for the next any more session comes up in maybe in the clip. We can definitely look after that. So any questions, people, if you have anything related to cybersecurity, Sankalp is already there in my connection in LinkedIn. You can reach out to him, or maybe you can follow us what we do. And if you have any questions, definitely you can comment in our YouTube channel, so that we'll be answering to the next hour session, because I've seen like there's no question today. Otherwise, it used to be one or two questions. Definitely, it would be there. Because everybody is in the holiday season now, the Christmas and the New Year. So I don't think so. People are uh, like able to see this video, but that's okay. If something comes in the future, definitely we're gonna answer to that. So once again, thank you, Sankalp. I'll see you next time soon. Thank
Sure.
you.
Thank you. Thank you, Pooja, for inviting. Thank you. Bye.
Yeah.